San Francisco. Code orange for for what was it? Liberation. I totally forgot the name of our group.
I say Occupy. You say Chevron. Occupy.
Chevron.
Occupy.
Chevron.
I say Occupy. You say San Ramon. Occupy.
San Ramon.
Occupy.
San Ramon.
I say Occupy. You say corporate capitalism. Occupy.
Corporate capitalism.
Occupy.
Corporate capitalism.
So, totally excited to see the network of folks here from Richmond across the planet, Occupies. And I first started joining Maryland and folks in Richmond. I was part of a group called the Direct Action Network. And in 1999, we shut down the World Trade Organization. And then we went back to our communities and we tried to figure out, because the World Trade Organization was how the global elite were going to run the world so they could concentrate more power and wealth in their own hands. And due to people power, because people in the United States stepped up and joined the movements that were far ahead of us in other parts of the world, we actually, that was their plan A of how to run the world, and we stopped them. And one thing we realized that is, you know, that the pundits and the professional economists and academics, they talk about the economy like it's something else. But when we were in the streets of Seattle, what we realized is that the economy is the water we drink, the food we eat, the work we're forced to sell our time to pay our rent. All that stuff is the economy. So the economy is actually everything. And so the idea that we have a world in which small groups of mostly old white guys make decisions about the economy, which is about everything in our lives, it is, people have said the multinational corporation is probably the most undemocratic institution ever devised on planet Earth. The one thing that's very clear to me as an occupier, and the Occupy movement was very inspired by the Arab Spring, and maybe even more relevantly by the Indignados in Spain. And they call themselves Indignados, but they also call themselves Real Democracy, because their basic premise is the politicians don't represent us. I don't care if they're Democrats, but on a national level, representative democracy just doesn't work. We elect these folks, they go away, and there's no mechanism for accountability. It's maybe a notch better than the monarchy which it replaced, but all over the world, from the Zapatistas to Bolivia to Ecuador, people are experimenting with forms of direct democracy. And that's where the Indignados came from. That's where the Occupy movement came from. So to me, it's very clear that the institution that's headquartered behind us, it can't be accountable. It's a fundamentally undemocratic. So I'm going to call out my friends in the nonprofits and the other groups. I think we're perpetuating some naivete when we call for corporate accountability, because they can't be accountable. And everything that these corporations do and that Chevron does, people have the solutions. We know how to grow food sustainably and for people. We know how to, energy systems. I work as a carpenter. I have friends who build houses in the Rocky Mountains that in the middle of winter generate more power than they consume. So we actually have the solutions if we can get those little groups of old white guys and a few women and folks of color in the mix just for good show. We have to get them out of the way. We also have to get the politicians out of the way, because we can't have corporations and have a world without these wars around the planet, without a climate catastrophe, without disempowering local communities, and without dirty energy. So I'm looking forward to all of us, and I know a lot of the folks here, and most of us are radicals and revolutionaries, but sometimes we don't get to articulate that in our organizations. But in the civil rights movement, it was the vision of a blessed community, or of a radically different reality, that our lives could be so much better. So I'm looking forward to this incredible network of people who are connected to movements all over the world, actually have the capacity to overthrow and ban this corporation and corporations in general. And we know how to organize ourselves. We do it in disasters. We do it in our social movements. So let's get the politicians out of the way. and abolish the corporations and build a better world. Thanks.
Thank you, David.